Hello and welcome to ProLife NewsBreak for Friday, June 19th. I'm Leslie Palma, Communications Director for Priests for Life. Happy Juneteenth. A Missouri judge on Thursday struck down most of the laws protecting babies from abortion and opening the state to chemical abortion for the first time since 2018. Jackson County Circuit Judge Jerry Zhang also struck down the state's 72-hour waiting period. Other laws that are now permanently blocked include special licensing requirements and hospital admitting privileges for abortionists, a requirement that tissue removed during a surgical abortion be sent to a pathologist, and a requirement for physicians prescribing medication abortions to have a state-approved complication plan. Zhang upheld laws calling for patients to meet with a doctor in person before being prescribed chemical abortion pills, and a requirement that only physicians can perform abortions. In other news, abortions in the United States increased slightly in 2025 over the previous year, driven by an increase in mail-order chemical abortion. The Pro-Abortion We Count Project reported that 1,126,760 babies were killed by abortion last year. Overall, 28% of all abortions began online, with no in-person interaction between the person ordering the pills and a healthcare professional. In comparison, only 13% of abortions were done by telehealth in 2023. Since many women live in states with strong pro-life protections, mail-order abortions are undermining the laws passed since the Dobbs decision 4 years ago. Several states have enacted laws to prohibit abortion drugs to be sent by mail, but all of them are tied up in legal challenges. In the meantime, as I report on a weekly basis, men continue to order pills online to coerce the women in their lives into abortion, most often without her knowledge. In Louisiana, a baby born by emergency C-section at 23 weeks is fighting for life after the baby's 17-year-old mother took abortion pills forced on her by her own father, Jamel Kelly. He is now facing felony charges of attempted first-degree feticide and domestic abuse battery of a pregnant victim. And in Illinois, 32-year-old Emerson Evans has been sentenced to 7 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges of giving his pregnant girlfriend abortion drugs without her knowledge or consent. That baby did not survive. The U.S. Supreme Court this week declined to hear a case brought by a former Indiana high school student whose pro-life club challenged school restrictions on political flyers. Noblesville High School approved the formation of the group and let the girl advertise it at an activities fair with a display that included a sign reading, "I am the pro-life generation." But the school did not allow her to hang photos of students carrying pro-life signs in front of the Supreme Court building in D.C. The messages on the signs included, "I reject abortion" and "defund Planned Parenthood." A federal district court and the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the school, prompting the girl and her parents to petition the Supreme Court. The court's decision not to review the case leaves the lower court rulings in place. Justice Samuel Alito dissented from the majority, saying the court should revisit student speech standards. 3 more abortion laws have been struck down in Wyoming. One created a mandatory ultrasound requirement and a 48-hour waiting period for patients seeking abortions. The second enacted new regulations for abortion businesses, and the third restricted off-label use of abortion drugs. Since April, 3 different courts, including the Wyoming Supreme Court, have blocked enforcement of 6 pro-life laws, including a heartbeat law. We're battling an activist court, Speaker of the House Chris Neiman told the news outlet WyoFile on Monday, and Republican Representative Rachel Rodriguez Williams posted on X that those controlling much of our judicial branch are hell-bent on legalizing the killing of preborn babies. Planned Parenthood has gone to court in Anchorage, challenging a state law that requires women receiving abortions to be treated on-site in hospitals or other facilities approved by the Alaska Department of Health. That means women cannot log into a computer to order abortion pills. Planned Parenthood claims that it is a violation of the Alaska Constitution's right to privacy and equal protection. And finally, Gallup released its annual poll on sanctity of life issues this week, and there was bad news and good news for pro-lifers. The poll found that 42% of respondents identify as pro-life, a 1 percentage point decrease from last year's poll. But the poll also found that 49% of Americans believe abortion should be either illegal in all circumstances or legal in only a few circumstances. This represents a 1 percentage point increase from the previous year. That's some of what's making news this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed weekend, and will remember always that